welcome to another one of those flavored dev diaries where today we're going to be having a look at the Netherlands, which is formable by a bunch of different countries. Obviously, you have Holland as, I think, the one that is mainly focused on. It does feel like there's a lot of Holland-coded flavor in the Netherlands. Then there is also, of course, Friesland, which I believe starts as the only one that starts as a republic. That one I know is Father Loris's favorite tag to form the Netherlands as. And you also do it as Brabant or as Flanders. So yeah, those are your potentials for it. Of course, the video in the background that's showing is the AAR from a couple of months ago from Paradox, where Midgeman was playing as the Netherlands. So I encourage you to go and watch that. It's quite good. And but let's have a look at the Netherlands properly and see what we're going to get in their flavor. So hello, welcome to one more Friday of Tito Flavor, the happy days in which we can take a look at the flavor content for EU5. Today we'll be taking a look at the content for the Netherlands. This means that we'll be taking a look at the content of different Dutch, Frisian and Flemish countries, of which Holland is the most relevant and with the most content, and also about the content available for the Netherlands itself. A formable country is formed. So, as for Holland, let's have a look. It starts under the rule of Count Guillaume III Avenses. Nailed it. The nations in the Low Countries have been bounded and bossed by both Kingdom of France and Holy Roman Empire since their creation, often becoming a fief of one or the other and not rarely switching sides. Like a big prize waiting for a claimant, as one of the richest regions in Europe, the countries of the region are in a position where they have to decide whether they will become an integral part of other nations, or will defend their independence with fury. Starting from poor and swampy land, the county of Holland has been slowly rising as a contender for supremacy in the region. The arrival of the Avenses dynasty has brought us close to the county of Hainaut. The expansion route of our country points to the Republic of Frisia, but the conflicts between our nobility and burghers seem to be reigniting. A very decent ruler to start your game. Getting 10 DHEs and 31 bits of content. This is stuff like your advances and such like that. So not too bad, not too bad. Obviously, everyone would want some more, but you know, you can kind of have everything. If you play instead as the County of Flanders, you get a unique description and such for them. Way fewer DHEs, way fewer bits of content, as you can see. But these guys are the ones that start as vassals of France. The nations of the Low Countries have been bound and bossed by both... Oh, wait, no, that part's the same. So, the Franco-Flemish War that lasted from 1297 to 1305 deeply impacted on the County of Flanders. While the country managed to stay independent, it ended up with the loss of the Roman Flanders to the Kingdom of France. As one of the richest nations in the region, Flanders has recovered in the past few years and might now have the opportunity to get back what's rightfully ours. But anyway, back to Holland, the main country of the region. So you start with a bunch of Low Franconians, Frisians. You have some Jews in there as well. There is an argument, and I think I do very much agree with the argument that Low Franconian should just be called Dutch, or there should be some way of turning it into Dutch, because if you think like maybe it makes sense for 1337, but you go to like 1500, 1600, and you're definitely seeing Dutch as the culture rather than what it is right now, which is a dialect of Low Franconian. I mean, they've already got it as orange. Like, come on, it's a bit silly in my opinion. I would prefer it to just be a little bit different. 10.5 tax base, 216,000 population, 8 locations. This is manpower plus levies plus a standing army. Although there definitely doesn't seem to be levies in here, so maybe it's not. Okay. What I will say is this number is very frequently wrong, right? If we look at the England flavor dev diary, this gave a number of like 75,000 or something. And when you go into game as well, which obviously I've been able to play, it says 75,000 as well. The tooltip on it says that it's levies plus standing army plus manpower. But England's standing levies are like 60,000. And their manpower is 300, and their standing army is at 200. So this number is just wrong. I wouldn't pay it. I mean, it's close enough, but I wouldn't pay it super much attention. Also, the idea that these guys only have 161 levies is ludicrous. Yeah, just ludicrous. But anyway, lovely map. You obviously have Zeeland here as well, which I believe you're in a PU with. Utrecht, Guelders, Flanders, Brabant, Frisia. Like you want to be taking this land. It is super dense, super rich. Got a lot of towns and cities, as you can see. So you're going to be pretty rich if you're playing in this area. However, I will say this is the country I think that is the most impacted by cities not being able to make as much food as rural. You're going to be having food issues as the Netherlands pretty much consistently. Either, delete some towns and cities back into rural, or, I don't know, conquer yourself some rural land and never develop it past that. Might be an idea, but yeah, I've seen a lot of people complaining about this as well. Specifically, I recall Bitter Steel saying that it's a little silly to have this much problems with food, considering Belgium as some of the most fertile land in Europe. So yeah, I kind of get that. I kind of feel that's maybe something they could look at for sure. But either way, so structural content of the countries. The base start for Holland, you start with two potential government reforms, sorry. Nobles, 26 power, got a few reforms in there, or privileges. Burghers starting with 5 privileges is pretty rare, to be fair. Usually they don't start with very many and you have to add them, but it is what it is. Some other mega unique reforms, such as Frisian Freedom, getting 20% less noble power. That's really nice, actually. And the peasants getting more power. This is actually a really decent government reform. Honestly, I would vibe with this. Brabant getting estate satisfaction equilibrium, but the nobles getting more power. Don't like Brabant. Not going to play as Brabant, for sure. But we have several advances available in the region. Some of those for Holland are things like the Hollander Sailors, giving you extra 10% sailors. Fair enough. Trading Spirit, giving you extra trading range. Also fair enough. Flemish Cloth, this is the really good one. If this is only available to Flanders, this is immediately putting them on the top spot of which one to play. Yeah, it's Brabant that has the terrible one. Cloth output and fine cloth output, this is huge. This is actually so insanely huge. So 100% I'm thinking I'm putting the Flanders at the head. Brabant gets tax efficiency, also a really, really good modifier, to be fair, but, I mean, come on. Utrecht getting a blessed land, giving invite artist cost. I mean, it's just not really worth doing. You have a max number of artists, and it's relatively easy to stay at that max number of artists. If you're going to invite somebody, it costs like 250, 300 gold. Yay, I save 25 ducats. It's really not worth it. It's really, really not worth it. Frisia gets the Legend of Groot Pierre, giving privateer maintenance reduction. Also very meh. It's strange that they're not showing any of the Dutch advances or government reforms here. Or not Dutch, sorry, the bloody Holland, the Hollander ones. But either way, those countries have a culture including Netherlands culture group. So this is kind of what you're going to be wanting your borders to be, I guess. So it's a pretty decent amount. You have Picard, Walloon, Westphalian, Low Franconian, and Frisian. They also get access to the following advances. All of them get access to polders. The Low Countries are highly susceptible to flooding, and in the unsettled weather of the 11th and 14th centuries, there were multiple floods leading to the creation of Zuiderzee and the salting the soil of coastal areas. We now have the technology to reclaim land, allowing more productive agriculture. So you get the polders building, and yes, no, this is not something you're going to be able to, turn water into land. Like, that's ship has sailed. We're not going to be getting that. The game doesn't support it, unfortunately. But the polders give road building time minus 5%, the production capacity, population capacity plus 2.5%, food production plus 5%, and monthly dev growth plus 2.5%. I've seen people say that this seems weak. This is essentially just cancelling out the marshland malus. It would be nice if it was a little better, but it is fine. 100 ducats, you're gonna just spam these everywhere. You're gonna literally just spam these everywhere that it's allowed, because obviously the green tick. said that they're, I think it's probably only marshlands that are going to be allowing it. But yeah, every single place you'll be building these. You also have Netherlandish shipbuilding, unlocking the North Sea shipyards. 80 sailors, shipbuilding capacity +1. You build some ships there. This is like late game building in the age of absolutism. No, I don't know. Number 4. Look, it's the 4th age. I'm not sure. If you form Netherlands, you'll unlock some more advances. So you get Dutch education, Dutch art, trading hub, platoon fire, concentration of power, and a fortified border. I think if you form Netherlands, you should get access to Flemish cloth and trading spirit and Hollander sailors and probably not the government reforms, but I think you should get all of these advances. I really, really do. Because Netherlands is a unity of all of those different, starting tags. So you should get all of the advances from all of the starting tags. Big fan of that idea. Anyway, Dutch art gives possible number of artists. I mean, that I'm okay. I like more artists. That's what helps you grow your cultural influence, which is what helps you get onto the great powers list and able to become the cultural hegemon. So you can, culture convert entire areas at once. Very nice advance. Very nice. We have platoon fire, giving combat speed +10%, correct section times +5, and allowing you to build the Mauritians regular regiments, which are higher in initiative. So that's actually a really, really good infantry. This is usually 1, I believe, for regulars. Like arquebusiers or AH5, they're probably muskets. I'm not sure. But yeah, getting higher initiative on your generic infantry is super, super powerful. You also get a fortified border, giving +20% fort defense. I mean, it's fine. That's whatever. Move on to the narrative content. The most relative piece of content for Holland, and in general in the region, until the Netherlands are formed, is a disaster, the Hook and Cod Wars. Its triggers and initial effects are quite dynamic and complex, as it depends on both succession crisis, and some of the effects and variables may vary depending on, please note that as I've treated via console. That's why there might be missing text here and there, as I'm breaking some of the dynamic localization. That's generally true in these div diaries. But what I can say is this artwork, it don't fit. It just don't fit. So how about we show the artwork that it will have? This is the illustration for the Hook and Cod Wars, which one of the artists is finishing. It'll soon be merged into the game. And honestly, goddamn, that's cool. I love this art piece. That's absolutely fantastic. I'm a big fan. I don't know what this art style is called, but I love it. I'm really growing into it. But yeah, big fan. But anyway, I accidentally showed you that you can eat your prime minister. Sorry, my bad. Madood has gained the popularity of the burghers and managed to earn the loyalty of the nobles as a rightful successor to the throne. A group of nobles founded the Hook faction to defend the position against the Hook. Again, missing text, breaking dynamic localization. It's fair enough. So if you side with the Hooks, you lose some stability. You side with them, favoring them over the other faction, gain extra bonuses if our favorite faction wins the overall conflict. So Hooks gain +1 point to their influence score. Nobles gain satisfaction, burghers lose it. Or you can side with the Cods. Burghers gain it, nobles lose it. Every on location which is neither urban and has less than 20% of the population of burghers gains satisfaction. While 4 locations that are either a town or city and have at least 20% of the population as burghers lose 50 and join the Cod rebels. Fair enough. I mean, as the Netherlands, and honestly as every country, because I'm a big fan of burghers, not a big fan of nobles, I'm generally going to side with the Cods here in every game, because it's pro-burger, I like burgers. There's a unique mechanic to the disaster and an influence score for each of the factions. So while it's happening, you lose crown power, you lose state satisfaction equivalent. 2.5% isn't that bad though. And rebels grow much, much faster. But you need to get to 20 influence score to finish your disaster. So what do we get? What do we have in this? If it's been triggered organically, you'd see at least 2 claimant countries, 1 backing each faction. Fair enough. So the score for each faction may go up and down depending on elections throughout several dynamic events. So you can choose which. Oh, losing 33% control. Ouch, that's painful. Cities of Holland see our current situation to slip away from the control of either side. The town of Dordrecht, in particular, has shown disobedience. While this undermines our current state's legitimacy, this defiance of paying taxes to the Hooks comes in handy to us. By granting the town additional autonomy, we can expand our advantage over our enemies. And this is just temporary, and you can bring it back up relatively easily within the cabinet action. So I would do this for sure. Cods have assembled a rebellion force in order to combat the Hooks. Many members of the nobility see an opportunity for themselves to force more privileges from the Cods or face them on the battlefield. Very nice. So, some events that are set for the Netherlands. We have the 5 Netherlands Admiralties. Our lands may be ruled by Count Guillaume, but the differences between our provinces have divided our Admiralty. The factionalism between Groningen, Hoorn, Rotterdam, Middelburg, and Amsterdam prevent us from unifying our navies. However, allowing them to pursue their interests may allow for a higher commitment from each of them. So you can allow them to exist on their own. You get a Admiralty building. Let's see what that does. You have to obviously pay for them, though. You can see here as well, they're in different markets. Otherwise, that's why they're costing a different amount of money. Like, these 3 are in the same market. Then there's 2 other markets. I'm assuming this is one of them is in the London market. One of them's in the probably Friesland is probably in the the Köln market. Oh, maybe, I think. And then we got a Bruges market, or something, English market, and then a Bruges market. Something like that. That's why they're costing different amounts, but that's kind of funny. I think if you are playing as Holland, by the time you get to this point, you're probably looking at getting all of your land in one single market. That's generally the best way to go. But the Admiralties give monthly sailors and let you build ships there. I mean, they're fine. They're nothing that special, to be honest, but you know what, every little helps with the sailors for sure. And some admirals under construction. Okay, so they're all individual looking buildings. It's not just going to be called Admiralty building, and then you know they're they actually have their own little symbol and everything. That's kind of cool. I like it. Freedom of the seas. Whilst the idea of free trade is no stranger in the Netherlands, the debates between protectionism and free trade become more heated. One of the philosophers taking part in the talks is our ruler. Having served as an overseas merchant for the country, having already started writing his new treaties, he might be able to swing the scales on the side of free trade. So you can do that. Swing towards free trade. This obviously doesn't happen at the start of the game. This is, I think, age 3 you start getting free trade versus mercantilism. I've been going with mercantilism in my Wales game, but definitely I can see the benefits of both. They're not too bad. You can also have Rembrandt join your country. Michael de Ruyter can join as well. You can have the father of microbiology, Antonius van Leeuwenhoek. Nailed that pronunciation. I apologize that I didn't, but whatever. And finally, something that may lead to a bigger and more important events, like the Glorious Plot. Although our ruler is the rightful ruler of the Netherlands, his public image has slowly been deteriorating, seen as nothing more than an oppressor. There may have been murmurs, many murmurs in fact, of a plot to invite him to rule over the lands instead. Very nice. Again, the fact that there's 2, because it's fired via console. But I wonder what this would lead to. Could it potentially lead to this? The eating of Consul Guillaume Alvesnes. War and misfortune have plagued the Netherlands, with the forces of the Netherlands having taken control of Den Haag. Much of the commoners see Consul Guillaume and his ambitions as the sole reason for all this. An angry mob has now gathered outside of his residence to execute him. Despite his captivating speech, the mob did not stop. Like animals, they attacked him, leading to his death. In the aftermath, parts of the body were missing, being cannibalized by the relentless mob that went after him in the first place. Very cool. Very cool. Bit of deep lore there. But also there's other comments to have a look at, such as this one. Something that was not shown. If you become a republic, you'll obviously get a unique reform and a cool country, flag, and name. So Dutch Republic gets heavy ship power, loyalty of subjects, and trade efficiency. It's not bad. It's kind of fine. It's kind of okay, I guess. It's not too bad. And you have the United Provinces of the Netherlands with... I don't like the fact that they got the red. It should be the orange. should be the orange. Though I guess it's probably because of the monarchy versus republic, maybe. But I don't agree, right? I don't agree. I think it should be orange because, as far as I'm aware, the only reason they changed it to red is because getting a consistent color for orange is kind of difficult back in the day. So they changed it to red because it would be more consistent, or maybe it bleached worse in the sun or something like that. But like, this is a goddamn game. Like, who cares? The orange is apparently like they're using orange as monarchy because it comes from William of Orange. But I don't care. I don't care. It shouldn't be this. I don't like it. I don't think it's a good idea. And I know, like, the modern use of the orange, white, and blue flag has been kind of co-opted by less than savory elements of society, but I don't care. This is a history game. So I'm in favor of that. Anyway, moving on. Is there a way to turn to a republic from a monarchy then? Yes, there is. I would like to know what that is. Because I haven't played too much of the Netherlands. Mostly because of the food issue. I did play it back in the May build that we had. And then quickly moved over to Italy instead. But I know Father Loris has been playing a ton of Netherlands. It's his favorite place to play, I believe. And he is always playing as Frisian Freedom, as it's the only one he's found that he can turn into the Dutch Republic in. It would be nice if this was a bit more visible on how we can do this, becoming a republic, because he hasn't found the way. Getting himself to 0 legitimacy did not get him into a republic. So I don't know what the vibe is there. I know it's possible to turn into a monarchy by going to 0 republican tradition, but the other way around doesn't seem to be the case. So it'd be nice to get a little clarification at some point on that. Flavors for the Dutch colonial empire and the VOC, 100%. There, and I'm not going to try and pronounce what this means because I can't. I know. No, it's not happening. There are several events about the Dutch mercantile and colonial expansion. However, we don't have the VOC itself, which is a mad shame, like crazy shame. As we had the trade companies relatively late in the game, it's one of the things that led to the future of the Netherlands. Good. That's very nice. For sure, custom trade company subjects for both the VOC and the EOC. By the way, combining Holland and the Netherlands, the country has a total of 61 DHEs, putting all of those related to the Hook and Cod Wars, which makes for a very solid Tier 2 country. Yeah, I mean that's entirely fair. It should be high. It's one of those countries that people are very familiar with, very interested in playing. So having it be Tier 2, yes, 100%. And in the future there will be a mini DLC based on them. I'm sure. I'm certain of it. Anything about United Provinces in Confederation IO? So there is a custom title for the Duchy tier Republican ruler. You get to be called Stadtholder, but no Confederation IO at this point. Since the Low Country Tinto maps, the feedback was so early on, there are fewer map modes, so can we see a few of them, such as the coastlines map mode, the harbour suitability, and this is really good. This is like having all of this green along this coast. I cannot explain to you just how rare it is to have this much good harbour suitability across your country. So very, very nice to see that. And then obviously the areas map as well. Actually, no, this is the areas map. The areas are kind of small, but it's a very high dense population, so that kind of makes sense. And then not finally, I got 2 more after this. Looks nice, but nothing for Confederation IO. Maybe where one can invite other Dutch states to it or something will be in an upcoming patch. So sadly, they ended up not having enough development time available to work on the Dutch Confederation IO with all the possibilities and the flavour of the struggle between monarchist and Republican factions of the Republic. It's something they want to revisit in the future and fully unleash the power of the script on it, which, I mean, for sure, basically, that sounds cool. And then it still feels a bit Holland-focused. In his opinion, there should be alternatives if Friesland, Brabant, and Flanders and one of the minors is taking control. So you can do it organically, and all those countries are kind of balanced. When you form the Netherlands, you'll get additional content independently of which country formed it. So that is your Netherlands flavor. So on Monday, we're going to get Tinto flags, and I'm not going to lie, that some of the flags that I have seen in the creators' Discord have been so fire. just to give an example of two that I've seen, there is a flag, I believe, when you're playing as Britain, you can get it, that when you have the Great British flag, so England and Scotland, no Irish, I think it's called a saltire, no diagonal bloody red ones, but the blue, instead of it just being a flat blue of Scotland, instead has the fleur-de-lis of France on it, and I swear it looks really, really good. It really does look fantastic. I don't know how to get it, but I really like it. And there's another flag for if you're England and you have vassalized Brittany that has, say, this guy's face is the Breton flag, and then you have this border around it in red, and little English lions all around the border. And, it looks so good. I really want to vassalize Brittany as England now. Big fan of that. But anyway, Tinto flags, you're not ready for how cool some of these flags are going to be. It puts Victoria 2 to shame on the amount of cool flags that there are in the game. Really, really big fan of it. On Wednesday, there's Tinto talk about the revolution. We have diplomacy and influence for the Dev Diary. And then Friday, there's Tinto flavor about Austria. I believe the one after this should probably be Poland. Hopefully we'll get a Poland Tinto flavor before too long. That would be kind of nice. But anyway, that's it for today. If you want to help out the channel, there is a link in the description where you can pre-purchase the game using my affiliate link. I'll get a little bit of a cutback of the sale. You get a Steam key regardless of where you get it from. And yeah, it's just a good way to help out. If you don't want to do that, subscribe to the channel. It's free, and that also helps out. So that'd be cool. But yeah, just keep watching, and I will see you in the next one. Toodaloo.